Firstly, if God created hell, then obviously it can't be a bad thing, categorically speaking, and obviously truthfully speaking. First, ask yourself, those who would be sent to hell, what would they do if they were in charge? Firstly, they challenge God and His goodness and His angels. Imagine if they had more control. That's the point of hell for those who need to control others. The greatest tyranny, which is to provoke God, is the start of hell, or multiple forms of hell, you could say. Once God is given up, then what becomes your principles or way of life? There's a reason why heaven is above and hell is below. One is born and has the free choice of will to either follow the counsel of God and His angels, or to follow the counsel of Satan and his devils. Before one chooses wickedness or sin, obviously they've given up something beautiful themselves. They gave up the image which God has bestowed upon them. It's the beginning of truly losing yourself. In this lifetime, you can keep it up for a while, but afterwards, when you give yourself up, you truly give up others as well. Your willingness to do things to others becomes greater. What is that willingness to do unto others? Betray them in other forms of sin and wickedness, of tyranny and forms of control, forms of abuse, so on and so forth. So all tyranny starts by provoking God in some way or form, which is to go against what He's created, and the principles by which it was created. Reject the counsel of God and the joy of His angels. Quite the hellish thing to do for oneself and to others. Alone God. Those who object to hell have stolen what is God's. Firstly, empathy, which is human consideration. God receives very little of that, and proof of that is the existence of Pharisees. There are those willing to literally abuse the church itself, those who just want to love God. You can only imagine the circumstances that happen outside of such an environment. God's principles are formed in a structure, and people there to follow those forms and structures of principles. Once one robs what is God's, then you can only imagine the pathways that leads to, which can be called hell. One out of necessity and one out of a final form of punishment from God. And then those who are on that pathway would obviously have a high view of themselves to not think that they are worthy of such said punishments, results or consequences of such deeds. In the ancient world, you had the Consequent Deed Act. All original ideas and conceptions of hell come from the ancient world, that Ancient Deed Consequent Act. The best thing to keep in mind is the willingness to provoke God, because you can only imagine what such a willingness would be willing else to do. Hell is not a bad thing at all.